A toy you can buy on Amazon just changed the calculus of modern warfare. Not metaphorically. On a single night, hundreds of drones launched from Ukrainian territory and reached Moscow, roughly 500 kilometers away, threading through one of the most fortified air corridors on Earth. Russia's vaunted S-400 missile batteries, worth roughly $500 million each, watched drones that cost less than a used laptop slip through. To understand how this happened, you need to understand how air defense actually works. It's essentially a very expensive game of whack-a-mole. You build radar networks that spot incoming threats, then fire interceptor missiles, sometimes costing $3 million apiece, to kill them. The system assumes your attacker is also playing an expensive game. Fast jets, cruise missiles, ballistic warheads. Expensive problems require expensive solutions. That assumption just broke. Modern long-range FPV drones are basically flying smartphones. They carry GPS modules, inertial navigation chips, small cameras, and occasionally a kilogram of explosive, all components you can order commercially. What makes them dangerous isn't raw capability, it's their cost structure. When a drone costs $400 and the missile to intercept it costs $400,000, you don't have a military problem. You have a math problem. Ukraine has essentially industrialized this math problem. Hundreds of drone manufacturers, many of them small workshops, have transformed the country into the world's fastest-moving drone development ecosystem. Attack drones are designed, iterated, and deployed in weeks, not years. Think of it less like traditional weapons procurement and more like a tech startup with a very specific product-market fit and an extremely motivated customer base. The swarm aspect is what truly breaks conventional defense logic. A single drone is manageable. 50 simultaneous drones from multiple directions is a different category of problem. Air defense systems have finite radar bandwidth, finite missile tubes, finite human operators. When you flood that system with cheap decoys alongside real threats, defenders face an impossible triage decision at machine speed. Some things get through. That's the point. Russia's response, deploying electronic jamming, spoofing GPS signals, scrambling interceptors, has created a fascinating evolutionary pressure. Ukrainian drone designers literally patched their guidance software mid-campaign. Drones that rely purely on GPS get jammed, the next batch switches to optical recognition or preloaded terrain maps. It's Darwinian warfare, running on a development cycle faster than any defense procurement office can follow. The Moscow strike is significant not because of the damage it caused, it was largely symbolic, but because of the distance, scale, and psychological message it delivered. Reaching the capital of your adversary is a weapon with its own logic. It redistributes fear. It says, your civilians are inside our operational radius, even if your army isn't inside ours. That changes the negotiation geometry. Analysts have spent decades theorizing about how cheap autonomous systems would eventually erode the battlefield advantages of wealthy states. The theory is now practice, playing out in real time on live satellite imagery. What's emerging isn't the drone future that science fiction imagined, precise hunter-killers launching from aircraft carriers, but something messier, cheaper, and arguably more destabilizing, a world where the barrier to striking a capital city is now measured in tens of thousands of dollars. Every major military is watching. China, the United States, Iran, Israel all have dramatically accelerated their drone programs in the last 3 years. The lesson isn't that Ukraine is uniquely clever. The lesson is that the economics of offense versus defense just permanently shifted, and that shift doesn't unshift. The $500 drone that flew into Moscow's airspace took something with it when it left. Strip away the theater of supersonic interceptors and billion-dollar procurement cycles and what you're left with is a single uncomfortable equation: offense just got cheap, defense didn't. Everything that followed from the Moscow strike, the swarms, the mid-campaign software patches, the overnight iteration loops, was a consequence of that equation being solved in public, in real time, with no mechanism to unsolve it. The $500 drone didn't win a battle. It rewrote the cost structure of geopolitical leverage, and every military on the planet now has to redo its threat models with different numbers on both sides of the ledger. What strikes us isn't the strike itself, it's the silence around what it implies. We've spent 30 years building deterrence on the assumption that only wealthy states could project force at range. That assumption is gone, and the collective response has been to accelerate drone programs, not to ask whether the acceleration is the problem. We don't think that's cynical. We think it's rational, and that's precisely what makes it uncomfortable. Because if the barrier to reaching a capital city is now a rounding error in a defense budget, this capability doesn't stay with states for long. So here's what we keep coming back to: when this technology reaches actors who have no capital city you can strike and return, what does deterrence even mean anymore?